Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Ako po si G. Tanji and welcome to Kababayan Today. We are coming to you from Los Angeles, California. And here in Los Angeles, everybody is talking about the elections. Are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? These are very important questions to ask because they may determine our status in this country. Kaya naman kasama natin ngayong hapon na ito si Attorney Eric Welsh from Reeves and Associates.
This immigration update is brought to you by Reeves, Miller, Zhang, and Diza, a professional law corporation.
Attorney Reeves is here to talk about immigration, but alongside this discussion, we need to talk politics because it will affect certain immigration policies, and that is why Attorney Reeves is here. Attorney Reeves, everybody is talking about all these rallies that are going on, that, you know, there was something in Chicago recently that they had to close down because of all this brouhaha with Trump and protesters and demonstrators, but everybody wants to know who's going to be the next president of the United States and how does that affect Kababayans who are looking to legalize their status here.
Sure. Well, I can't answer the first question. I know when the election happens. So we're going to find out in November who the next president's going to be.
And that's soon.
That's soon. That's soon. We have, you know, an election cycle, so we're going to have pretty soon an open presidential cycle between a Republican candidate and a Democratic candidate. Right now, we're still finding out who those people are going to be.
Right.
Could be
but
Trump.
What's scary is that Trump is leading in the polls for the Republican Party.
Sure. Well, depends on your perspective. If it's scary, it is scary to a lot of people. But it looks like he is the front runner for the Republican Party, and he does have a very hard-line stance on immigration policy. So we know a little bit about his policies, and they're not extremely friendly to immigrants.
Right, but he's also been known to say things and then, you know, say something else at the same time. So I don't know how reliable his word is should he become the president of the United States.
I can't argue with you there. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk ifs. What if Donald Trump is elected?
Sure. Well, if Trump becomes the president, and the next president, regardless of who it is, has the power to revoke or change executive policies that are currently in place that the president has put into place, can't change laws but can promote legislation and can certainly affect policy. For example, the next president's going to appoint a new secretary to the Department of Homeland Security. That's the agency that decides what immigrants go to immigration court, decides what benefits are going to be granted or denied, how waivers are going to be decided. So there's certainly a lot of policy control that a president has deciding what kind of policies are going to go forward with immigration.
Right, but as we saw with Obama, you would think the president has all the power, but also, you know, he got vetoed as well for his, I believe, the extended DACA. Isn't that right?
That's right. That's right. And we shouldn't say veto because it's right now being challenged.
Right.
So
at the Supreme Court.
At the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's going to be deciding a case that will tell us if the president has that authority, which we think he does have.
Okay. So let's just say our kababayans out there are out of status. What can they do in this sensitive time where, you know, the elections are happening?
Sure. Well, this is, you know, it is, you're right, happening very soon. So the election is this November. The next president will take office in January. But there's still time, and there's certainly time to get something underway. If there's something that a person is eligible for, they can start a process to apply for a green card or another visa. If that's underway and a new president takes office, they're not going to lose their benefit. They're not going to lose their visa. If they can take advantage of that now and take action, there's still plenty of time to resolve an immigration problem.
Okay, so I know that Obama has a lot of executive actions. Do you mind if we just discuss that so that if people are out there that may qualify, that they apply? Because I don't know why historically a lot of Filipinos that do qualify for the DACA have not applied for it.
Right, and this is certainly the executive actions. You have to take action if you think you're eligible. That's something that if it is a President Trump is going to go away, and whoever the next president is, we don't know. So it's uncertain. So definitely take advantage of this. This is for people who came to the U.S. before they were 16 years old, went to high school or college in this country, and don't have a criminal record or have a very minor criminal record, and that can be addressed with a lawyer as well. Right now, there's a requirement as well. They have to be under the age age 31 in June of 2012. That's on challenge to the Supreme Court too, trying to remove that cap, that upper age limit.
Okay, and let's talk about the DAPA program.
Sure.
For people that may not understand what this is. Could you explain it to them, please?
Absolutely. So you mentioned that as well. That's being challenged right now at the Supreme Court level, and we'll find out if this is going to go into effect. President Obama proposed this way back in 2014. It would give work authorization and reprieve from removal to any person who's a parent of a U.S. citizen or a green card holder if they came to the U.S. before January of 2010. So pretty generous entry rules and pretty generous policy. Just right now, we don't know if it'll go into effect. It'll be up to the Supreme Court.
Okay, and then could you explain to us what a prosecutorial discretion means? What
Sure.
does that mean? It's a big word.
Sure, it is a big word. It is a big word. And what it boils down to is this. The president is the executive in chief. He decides how the agencies are going to run, and he decides for the Department of Homeland Security whether or not they're going to exercise their discretion to remove someone from the United States. Right now, President Obama, we've taken, I think, maybe for granted a little bit. He's been a very generous president over the last 8 years, and he's had a progressive policy where he's not deporting people if you don't have a serious criminal record, unless under certain circumstances. But the rules are more generous now than they've ever been. So if you are in removal proceedings, or if you think that you might be removed from the United States, there is a way to prevent that from happening now. And again, with a president like Trump or somebody else with a hardline immigration policy, that could go away.
Okay, so let's talk about options. We need options. Let's just say that our kababayans watching really want to make sure that their papers are in order, but they do not qualify for the DACA or the DAPA or the big word that we mentioned earlier, right? What are their options?
Well, there are hundreds. There are so many options. I say right off the bat, if you have a family member who's a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident, or you have an employer who likes you a lot and wants to keep you with the company, you should talk to a lawyer. You should find out what visas might be available to you, what kind of petitions you can start. You might think you're not eligible because you have a criminal record. You might think because I lied in the past, I'm not eligible. There are waivers. There are ways to resolve grounds that you think would prevent you from getting a green card. You got to talk to a lawyer. You got to figure out what's going on. With individual cases, there are just so many different options.
Right, and you don't know your options unless you ask someone that's qualified to know everything that's going on with the immigration status as of now. Attorney Eric Welsh, thank you so much for being here. It's been very informative for our kababayans that are watching today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Maraming salamat sa inyo at magbabalik kami. Kasama naman natin si Ranella Ferrer. Don't go away. We'll be right back.